Hello and welcome to the first trading day of this week. Here's what's coming up in the next 55 minutes. We gauge the impact of NIN enrollment exercise in Nigeria, how businesses and individuals are navigating delays. And Egypt's central bank aims to sell shares in a state-owned United Bank in an initial public offering. Plus, Kenyans living abroad increased the money sent back home by $72.9 million. And it's great to have you join us. I'm Lade Williams. First off, let's get a check on the commodity markets. Now we're seeing gold down after hitting a record high as a stronger dollar prompted some investors to book some stronger sentiment in the market, with geopolitical tension keeping prices subdued today. $2,616 per ounce. That's the price for spot gold after that high. Still a high at the end of the day, just we're seeing a pullback right there, 0.2% down. That's the trade there for gold. We know the bullion likes interest rate cuts, so we saw that rally, and now we're seeing a pullback, promptly taken. The rally was a continuation of the fear of missing out, FOMO momentum that followed last week's bumper U.S. rate cut by the Federal Reserve. But investors still want to know, will the Federal Reserve continue with this momentum at the next meeting? We'll definitely find out. Let's get a check on oil prices now. They rose slightly today after last week's cut to U.S. interest rates and the dip in U.S. crude supply in the aftermath of Hurricane Francine. That counted the gains at $75.09. And we see WTI also getting above that $70 level, was up bigger, 0.9%. And the spread between Brent and WTI getting farther apart at this time. We saw a close last week for both contracts. They registered their biggest gains beyond the second consecutive weekly gains last week after U.S. Federal Reserve cut interest rates by 0.5 percentage point. So we're seeing the impact of interest rates across major commodities at this time. I'm talking about commodities. We see petrol. Let's get a check on prices now. From the data from the MBS, we see the price of PMS, commonly known as petrol. That saw a notable increase in August, rising from 770 naira per litre in July to about 830 naira. That's in August, and that's according to data from National Bureau of Statistics. Well, take me back to July at this point. Those prices were really nice. We see it's up 32.51% year on year. That's for PMS. On a month-to-month basis, we see a 7.78% rise. That's for last month. We're not taking into consideration what happened, what has played out in September. We're talking about prices of PMS. Benue State had the highest average retail price, 941 naira. That was in August. Delta State, lowest average retail price, 667 naira. Let's also get a check on diesel now. We see diesel prices for August. That's 2024, up 64.58% year on year at 1,406 naira from 854 naira. That's the same time last year. Month-on-month basis, diesel prices were up 1.93% comparison July and August. Kaduna State, highest average price at 1,930 naira per litre. And everyone's wondering why inflation is so high. Energy prices are not looking good. Lagos State, lowest average price at 1,237 naira. We've seen analysts attribute that to the Dangote refinery. Then we also have gas cylinder prices, kerosene prices. So it's up and up for most of these products we use. Very essential products rising constantly. 7.62% month-to-month increase there for a kilogram of gas, 6,430 naira from 5,974 naira. Benue, highest price. So we're seeing Benue dealing with a lot of energy issues there. Prices are constantly higher in Benue State, and I'm sure that's why we saw headline inflation really high in Benue State, even though we saw their food inflation not so bad. Taraba had the lowest, 5,600. That's for cost of gas, a cylinder there. Kerosene, now we see kerosene prices also rose if you're checking year on year and month to month. So all these essential commodities rising right here in Nigeria. That's for August. We'll definitely find out how these prices performed in September. That's next month when the MBS releases those data. To other news now, King's College Old Boys Association 2024 held its 115th annual Founders Day lecture with the theme Achieving a Secure Nigeria by 2030. For the keynote speaker, former Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy of Nigeria, Mansa Murta, in achieving a prosperous, stable and secure Nigeria, leadership must be seen as an inspiring force. Take a listen.
It's a meeting of Old Boys Association of King's College in Lagos, and the caliber of individuals in attendance explains the esteem the school has enjoyed over the years. The focus here is, however, not internal matters, but national economy.
Increased educational investment can significantly assist in developing a productive workforce and reclaiming the generational loss stemming from past failures. However, we must also pay greater attention to the neglected area of technical and vocational education to impart relevant skills and bridge the jobs and skills mismatch.
The issues are further dissected by a panel. Weaknesses which may have hampered an accelerated development made up the conversation.
There's a need for us to reskill our civil service and to strengthen our institutions, which could help us get on the way to the promised land of a secure Nigeria by 2030.
It is not a long-term sustainable strategy, because when you're subsidizing, at some point, real money has to exchange hands. If it's government to government, it can go on for a while, but if it's government to a private enterprise, at some point you actually have to pay the private enterprise. But the takeaway is, yes, it is to stimulate production, not with the aim of making the price of the product cheaper.
Known for his matter-of-fact talks, former CBN Governor Muhammadu Sanusi hits on the austere situation in the country
communication is also about setting an example. It is fine to tell Nigerians, and we should tell Nigerians, that we cannot afford certain subsidies. We don't have the money. We are too much in debt. But when we're telling Nigerians that we do not go buying SUVs for senators, we do not go buying private extra presidential jets, we do not go spending billions on politicians. This, if you're doing austerity, it has to be across the board. Nigerians need to see that we actually understand that we cannot continue with lifestyle. What we've seen is that the politicians have not in any way made any sacrifices.
The concerns expressed here are not new. The difference would be when the concerns become policies that are implemented to effect the needed change.
All right, let's get to some other issues now. The National Identity Management Commission, as NIN says, refuted claims that its servers have experienced outages as Nigerians flock to telecom shops for the verification of their national identification number. In a statement issued last week by its head of corporate communications, the commission emphasized that more than 10,000 enrollment centers, both within Nigeria and abroad, are currently assisting citizens. Data shows that the national identification numbers enrollment rate has slowed to an average of about 648,000 people per month in 2024. That's from January to September, down from 1 million enrollments per month during the same period in 2023. Now, there are reports of delays at enrollment centers leading to loss of man hours. Join us now to discuss what's causing this. We have Ebele Alaka. She's the CEO of Ebele Alaka Consult. We also have Mr. Remy Olofin, is the Prince Remy Olofin is the CEO of Remy Investment. They're both joining me right here in the studio. It's great to have you both.
Good afternoon. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So I know you're in the business of NIN enrollments, and when we look at the state of the country, right now, Nigerians are having to deal with a lot when it comes to rising prices. Nigerians also having to deal with deadlines when it comes to NIN enrollment and all of that, wasting man hours, at most of these centers, trying to get, verified. That's most of these numbers. But at the end of the day, everyone's wondering, why do Nigerians have to always deal with all these issues? Is there an easier way to get Nigerians enrolled without them having to, get to these centers? And why are we seeing a reduction in the enrollment numbers from 1 million per month to about 600,000? I'll start with you, Ma.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, there's always an easier way of doing things, but then talking about what we have and the reasons why numbers are dropped, there are so many factors. First of all, we could talk about the fact that maybe the number of people to be enrolled have reduced also. That's number one. But also look at the fact that the enrollers themselves some of them have been disenfranchised in one way or the other. So sometimes enrollment
That's the people
activities,
in the business of enrolling.
The people that are enrolling, there are a lot of issues with the people that have been put in the business of enrolling, especially the independent enrollment officers. I'm one of them, and I know that there's been challenges, and so that could also be one of the reasons why numbers have dropped, because in the past 1 year, thereabouts, a lot of them have been stopped from enrolling. So if they are not enrolling, of course, that means the number of enrollments will definitely reduce. So that could be one of the reasons.
So you're telling me now that the people that are supposed to be enrolling, the citizens at this point, we're seeing a drop in that?
Yes, I can categorically say that there's a reduced number of enrollers. I don't know what NIMC is doing right now. Maybe they are trying to recruit more people, but I know that a large number of people that have been enrolling in the past have not been able to because of different challenges.
Right.
Yes.
And definitely a lot of challenges at this point. But let me come to you, Prince Remy. Definitely, we're seeing now that there are challenges with the enrollers. There's those centers, that are out there, enrolling people. I'm sure they're not doing it for free. I'm sure it's business, at the end of the day. But talk to me about the issues that these enrollers are having, enrolling people.
The problem there is this. When they employ us as an agent, we are supposed to register people free. So people who are coming there to come and register because it's free of charge. You understand? But then the government promised to pay us per month as we enroll people. But up to now, they did that for about 3 months and they stopped for almost going to 2 years now. We will not be paid. And after that, they stop with the agents that you're supposed to connect to the grassroots to register them. They disenfranchised us. They did not give us the license back again. So the thing is just upside down.
So that means the enrollers, some of these enrollers are not happy.
They are not happy
at this point, and that's why we're seeing,
yes,
a drop in enrollment. But how is that impacting new enrollers at this point? New people coming into the business?
Yeah, a lot of they now reduce people that will register. Before we have, at least with the agents, and many on the field, we go to nooks and crannies of the cities to register. But now they put about 2 or 3 people in a place, go and register in local government or go to the NIMC office in their state. So that's why you see a lot of people going there to register. Unlike before that, they will come, we have so many offices that they will go. But now it has been reduced about 3 or 4 places in the state. So
right, and we've also heard from NIMC, they've talked about upgrades when it comes to their system, that could be the reason why we're seeing
we've been on that for almost a year plus. They said they are going to give us upgrade. We people that are using Windows. And up to now, they stop us from registering people.
The truth of the matter is that the upgrades have been mentioned so many times, and it seems like each time there is a talk about upgrade, the capacity of the enroller to work more effectively is affected. We are talking from the experience, because each time they have given us an upgrade, our capacity to do certain things that we are supposed to do as enrollers is reduced. And also, even though, like I said, I know that NIMC is getting new people to enroll, even though the older ones are still disenfranchised, they haven't been paid, and their licenses have been withdrawn, so we cannot enroll anymore. But the fact, the elephant in the building is that enrollers are owed. We are supposed to be paid every month. At the end of each month, there's a commission to be paid so that you don't have to charge the citizens. Now, at the end of each month, those commissions are usually, especially for overhead costs, payment of staff, your rental, payment of rent. Those are some of the things that we are supposed to use the commissions to defray. But because those things are not paid month on end, I think from 2022 to when the license was withdrawn in 2023, October, those commissions were not paid. And up till now, even those are still working, since then, when some of the licenses were renewed, up till today, from January 2024 to this is September, commissions have not been paid.
That's quite interesting, and I'll definitely like to hear from NIMC. I'm definitely going to reach out to NIMC and find out, about this issue of non-payment of commissions to older, enrollers. And I guess that's what's leading to this drop in enrollments that we're seeing on a month-to-month basis and even on a year-on-year basis. But we're hearing NIMC planning to enroll 2.5 million people monthly. That's a plan, and I'm sure that's why we're getting most of these.
No,
upgrades.
we did register. We did register a lot of people when we were on field.
Right.
That's why. Then you see the rise in the people registered that we registered. Because
I think the average was about 1 million people per month.
Yes.
That was the average.
Yes.
But now NIMC is planning to enroll 2.5 million. That's the plan, going forward. What are the risks to this plan?
Well, if NIMC is planning to enroll 2.5 people per monthly, right. Okay. I know that it's doable because in the past when we were enrolling, I know that NIMC had targets, which we were proud to. They announced that we met those targets, even though our own challenges were still there. But NIMC was proud to celebrate that those targets were met. So if there is a target this year, NIMC has to put in place, whatever it takes to make sure that those targets are met. We know that the reason why the targets were met in part was NIMC employed or enrolled, not enrolled is not the word, got in independent enrollers across the country, even in the diaspora, to ensure that these targets are met. Now, if you have those people, you have to keep them happy, at least meeting your own part of the deal. So if you have independent enrollers that you are not paying salary, you are not paying anything, whatever it is that is your own part in the agreement has to be met.
And all of these people we see, trying to enroll in most of these centers, because I visited a center recently, there were a lot of people and there were complaints that, system is down, there's issues with all of that. And, people come to those offices, they have things they're doing, they have a business to run. They come to the enrollment center, they cannot get enrolled, they have to leave after maybe missing a business opportunity, somewhere. What do you say is the solution to this?
What knows the solution to these things? We know that for you, if you want to have solution, you have to make things work. Okay. If you want faster enrollment, you train people to do the work better, and also you make sure that the people are motivated properly to do whatever they are doing. Across board, there's system failures, and there's people failure. So those are the two things that NIMC has to look at. Technically, the system failures have to be handled by NIMC. Their systems, their servers, the apps, the platforms, the back end, the communication systems, and all that. Then for the people also, the training, the motivation, positive motivation, remuneration, instead of bullying and threatening and withdrawing licenses at every point, we should look at other ways to make things, make these people, the enrollers, for instance, to train them properly, to which they have done once. Of course, they have called us for trainings and certifications and all that, and to keep that training, to keep the certification, to keep monitoring. And because of the monitoring, there are central independent enrollment partners that they have that we work under. So those partners are the ones that monitor what we do and make sure that things are working properly. And I dare to say that between 2021 and 2022, things were much better. That was when we were running, we were doing enrollment and all that, things were much better. But now, I don't, a high percentage of the independent enrollers that were used in those periods have not been paid, they've not been settled, and a lot of us took loans, and the central bank loans. NISRA bank loans. NISRA is a baby of central bank, if I might say. It's a bank that is controlled by central bank and some other government entities, organizations that put it together to ensure that people get loans to start businesses and be able to. I mean, it was a way of helping. What's the word for it? Helping to grow those that need to grow. Right, because at the end it's a business, and you need a lot of inputs. You need a lot of so when we that the loan was gotten for us, was negotiated for us. It was agreed that we will pay back based on the commissions that central bank or that NIMC is going to pay. You know, at the end of each month they will pay, and NISRA Bank will take their own percentage of it. That we were supposed to defray in a period of 5 years. Okay, so that's I'm just trying to give you an example of some of the challenges that the people are having. So at the end of the day, the commission is not paid. So you can't pay back the loan. Is not being paid, and central bank is targeting individual accounts and taking out money from there forcefully to defray these loans, which is not part of the agreement. So if those things are there, I mean, people are disenfranchised. They will not work. So it'll be hard to meet this target of 2.5 million people that are coming in, that you are bringing in. They're also hearing what is happening. A lot of them, you now see that people are now turning it into a business. They're trying to frustrate the people so that they can get, you know, when people are delayed or frustrated, they pay more. Okay. I'm just trying to show you a scenario. Yeah. So people want to, I've waited for 1 week, 2 weeks. Somebody said I can fast track it for you if you bring 40,000. I'm just giving an example. So we see corruption seeping in there. All those things happen and they slow down the system. Right. And there's no reason why NIMC should take, the enrollment should take more than 30 minutes and the feedback should take more than 2 days. It's something that we have done, so I know that it's doable. All right, so much to unpack there, definitely, and I would reach out to NIMC to also get their side of this issue, because if the enrollers are not happy, then we might have an issue hitting that target. But I want to thank you both for coming on the show. Mr. Bele Alaka, CEO, Bele Alaka Consult, and we have Mr. Remy Olofin is CEO of Remy Investment. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming on, and definitely we're going to keep this conversation going. Because we don't want Nigerians wasting man hours at most of these enrollment centers when they should be working. But we'll take a break now. When we come back, we're going to head straight to the markets. That's in a moment. Just stay with us. All right, it's the first trading day for this week, the last full trading week of September. We will have one, that's for September. In this month, and definitely a lot has happened, a lot has played out. Let's have Anita to play out
what's transpired in the international markets we track, and the local bourse staying above 98,000 last week. And let's see if that holds.
Yeah, good afternoon, Adi. Actually, the market closed Friday at 98,247.99 points.
Right.
But as you can see on your board there, intraday, yes, this number is still, moving up and down. But the last tracking, we saw it higher than what it closed last week. And we see that means that there's lots of bargain hunting for some of those stocks.
So is 100,000 on the cards now?
On the horizon.
Even though we know the central bank is meeting right now.
Exactly.
We'll have a decision tomorrow. Will it be a rate hike, a jumbo rate hike, or maybe a dovish hike? What are we expecting at this point?
At first, I spoke to one of the equity markets trader, and he said, well, many of the investors there are going to be cautious because the outcome of the monetary policy decision by the central bank, which is coming at a time. Just last week, we saw a flurry of central banks around the world from the all.
Everybody's cutting at this point. And I'm wondering if I'm the governor of Nigeria's central bank, I'll feel left out of the party. Seeing the likes of the U.S., the BOE, all cutting rates, even here in Africa,
even South Africa.
Yeah, they're cutting rates. Ghana led, the rate cutting season. But I'm not the governor, but I'd feel left out. But let's see how the market.
But don't forget, it's the wildcat called inflation. That's what they're trying to tame. And according to, the reason why all these markets have either held or cut is because they've been able to hold back on inflation. Inflation has decelerated. But not also in Nigeria here, we saw inflation coming down all the way from 33.4% to 32.15%. So, but I think the consensus will be that Nigeria's central bank would hold. So, but fingers crossed, we look out for that outcome tomorrow. But for now, let's talk about the market intraday movement for markets on the African continent. And as usual, always starting off from the Nigerian front, where the NGX, that's the Nigerian Exchange All-Share Index, up by 0.12% at intraday, and of course, like we mentioned, still climbing, and at the same time also maybe putting some breaks, because these numbers will always come out at the close of trading session for Monday, 2:30. Of course, it's a full week. Last week we had just 4 trading days, but at the same time, the market in 3 trading sessions last week was able to hold onto the positive terrain, which it closed for Friday. Now, for the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, we see 0.79% at intraday, 84,000. Of course, this market has been it's been able to come back. It didn't go down below 81,000, which it at some point fallen to. But at intraday for Monday, 84,489.44. That's the number that we registered at intraday a couple of hours ago. So for that market, and then for the other 2 markets on the African continent. On one side, it's a close. That's for the Nairobi Stock Exchange, NSE 20, NSE All-Share Index, 0.61% for Friday at 106.44. We see some bargain hunting on that index, while the EGX 30 in Egypt at intraday was slightly down 0.03% at 31,027.80 for that market. And now we're talking about Nigeria's what to expect, the financial market, the expectations this week. We're starting off first with the MPC, which has already begun its 2-day bi-monthly monetary policy decision. And this is the second to the last before we have the next one coming up sometime in November. So the meeting has begun. And of course, the outcome of that meeting, which we'll be having a special edition on Business Incorporated tomorrow, where we see whether the Nigerian Central Bank would hold or would hike, or maybe it would lower the interest rate. Your guess is as good as mine, but we'll look out for that. And at the same time, as we speak, we're looking at the debt management office, which is auctioning about 3 debt instruments of the federal government bond, which is worth about 150 billion naira. That's currently happening at the moment. And then for Wednesday, we also expect that the debt management office would roll over more than 227.5 billion naira worth of maturities at Nigeria Treasury bills auction coming up on Wednesday, September the 25th. And then at the same time, we're also expecting that more than 828.0 billion naira inflows from the FAC allocations. FAC was just released last week, so that inflow is expected to hit the market. There's going to be much liquidity. And at the same time, the disbursement, as well as the 202.545 billion naira coupon payments, we'll be talking about the delay in payment of coupons for the FGN savings bonds auction, but we'll be talking about that just in a couple of seconds from now for the fixed income markets. So that's it on the expectation, which we got all that information from the central bank as well as the debt management office, and that's carried out by our research department. So now let's get a deeper perspective of the market at intraday, but starting first with the savings bond payment delay. What impact is this having on the market? Why is this happening? So to give us a closer picture on that, we bring in Bosun Obembe, fixed income dealer with Access Bank, to give us more details on that. Thank you for joining us, Bosun.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Bosun, yeah, we know that the government has been trying to get particularly retail investors or smaller level investors to invest in government bonds, which is savings bonds. But this time we're seeing the government making some delay. At some point we heard the debt management office attributing this to a glitch. Now, can you give us more details about why this delay is happening for the payment of coupons on the FGN savings bond?
So like you said, the information we got about the savings bond, it was system glitch, right, and a system issue. And when you look at the coupon due on all these instruments, it's less than 1 billion. It's about 638. And this is not something that has happened before. So, and the amount involved is quite small. So, a system glitch, and I think the coupon has been paid now. I can confirm that. I know some were paid over the weekend. So, the savings bond, the rate on it is quite attractive. On 2-year bond is 17.2, and on 3-year bond is about 18.2. So about 3.6 billion was raised this month. So I don't think it's something that investors should worry about. The government is capable of redeeming any obligation in error.
So, well, thank you so much for that, for allaying the fears of the delay in the coupon payment. Now, let's talk about another side of the bond, and this time is the FGN bond. We know that as we speak now, the debt management office is reopening or auctioning the 19.3% FGN April 2029 bond, as well as the FGN February 2031 and the FGN May 2033 bonds. So now, what is investors' interest towards these three debt instruments?
So, like you said, if you look at the amount on offer for this month, I think is one of the lowest that we've had. So we have 70 billion on 2029, we have 50 billion on 2031, and 30 billion on 2033. That's about 150 billion. So the DMO is not actually looking to raise a lot of fund. I think thanks for the domestic Europe, where the DMO was able to raise about $900 million. So I think that is a good one for the DMO to get a cheap source of funds. So the amount on offer is quite small, and the law of demand and supply. You have supply that is small, and you have a lot of demand. This week, there's been a lot of coupon payment that has come into the system. We have a FAC payment that's coming, and we have Sukuk that is maturing, about 100 billion maturing. The rental payment on it to due on the 26th of September. So a lot of money coming. So the implication of this is the stop rate at this auction is going to decline. The 2033 is already trading around 20.3 to 20.5 compared to where the last auction closed with 21.5. So I think the DMO is trying to calm down the cost of borrowing, which is a good one. So there will be a lot of oversubscription, and the investor will want to have a piece of these bonds, so they will likely bid at a lower rate at this auction. So we await the results by close of business today.
Okay. So, Bosun, finally, now the Central Bank's Monetary Policy Committee has already begun the 2-day policy meeting. Now, what is your expectation? Last time they met, they increased the MPR rate to 26.75%. Inflation has moderated for a second consecutive month. So, what is your expectation for the outcome of tomorrow's rates decision meeting?
So my expectation at tomorrow's, I think the MPC should hold the rate. What has changed between the last meeting, the inflation, which has been the reason for the hike, inflation has declined from 34.1 now to 22.15, thanks to the base effect. And if you look at most of the central banks globally, they've been trying to come down on rate, Fed cut by 50 basis points. So, though, if you look at it, Nigeria, the inflation is still there, but we've seen an improvement, which shows that the policy of MPC has worked. So there is a need to actually look at how to grow the economy. So I think my expectation is the MPC should hold the rate. If there is a need to maybe still be having a restrictive policy, maybe it should be through other means, not through the rate hike.
So thank you so much, Boston. Of course, we look out for that much-awaited outcome of the CBN MPC meeting, which, of course, has already begun today. Thank you so much for your view on our show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so that's Boston Obembe, fixed income dealer with Access Bank, giving us details on the fixed income markets as well as what to expect for tomorrow's, the outcome of tomorrow's MPC meeting. And now let's go to the Middle East. As you can see on your board there, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, two of them on the United Arab Emirates, both in the red at intraday, 4,428.69. 0.7% down for the Dubai, and for the Abu Dhabi 0.03%, as you can see on your screen there. And of course, for this market, of course, we will look out for whether it will end in the green for that market. And let's look at the other side of the market. Saudi Arabia is actually on holiday. Yesterday was the last trading day for the week, but they are currently on holiday, a 2-day holiday, which they would resume on the 25th. And for the Qatari Stock Exchange, 0.08% up at intraday at 10,447.56 for that market, and that's a snapshot of the markets for the Middle East. So, Ladi, I would have given you details about the United States markets as well as Asia, but I think those markets were, it's
not looking bad.
No, not looking bad at all.
Right. So I guess the market is still excited about that jumbo rate cut.
0.57. We were anticipating 0.25%.
Right, and I guess, forward guidance, everyone will be listening to what Fed speaks, what the U.S. federal presidents have to say, this week. What's going to happen at the next meeting? Will it be another jumbo cut, or maybe a dovish, cut at this time?
I think it's going to be another cut, because...
but how big? Would it be 50 basis points, or would it be 25, or would it be 75?
I think, Ladi, I'll wager a 0.25%.
0.25, a smaller one. Yes. All right, we'll definitely see, the next meeting and what the Feds have to say this week. Thank you so much, Nathan, for the details there. Well, taking place right now, the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly. Right now, we have a GAP Leadership Council, GAPP Leadership Council, which gathers top global leaders, including heads of World Bank and the African Development Bank, and high-level government officials from across Africa. Their mission is to accelerate affordable and clean energy access for over 300 million people, a vision that could dramatically reshape economies like Nigeria's and open the doors for new investments in renewable energy. With Nigeria at the forefront of Africa's energy transition, this event offers exciting opportunities for businesses looking to invest in renewable energy and infrastructure. The discussions will highlight strategies for large-scale partnerships, innovative energy solutions like battery energy storage systems, and the critical role of private sector collaboration in powering growth across emerging markets. Our London correspondent, Juliana Olayinka, is on the ground for us and will be bringing us interviews with the likes of the AFDB president, Mr. Akinwumi Adesina, throughout the day. Also available in New York, Channels television analyst Laolo Akonde, as well as Channels TV State House correspondent Larry Lasisi. So we have all our people there on ground and they're bringing us details as they progress. All right, let's take it on to Europe now. The auto sector has long been a major pillar of the German economy, but it's seen some troubled times as of last representatives from the industry meeting with governments today. It's called the Car Summit, and that's happening in Berlin. Let's hear more now from Lars. So, Lars, what's brought this up? What are the current problems for automakers in Europe?
Thanks for having me, Ladi. Well, in one word, China. German car makers have long done good business there. In fact, Germany's largest car maker, Volkswagen, made around a third of its entire revenue in China. But as of the past few years, that market has shown weakness. There's an economic crisis in China and cars aren't selling as much as they used to. And there's competition too. As a matter of fact, Volkswagen used to be the #1 car brand in China. It's long lost that position as Chinese brands gained market share. BYD, NIO, Great Wall. The Chinese have invested heavily in their auto sector. They focus entirely on electric cars. They're technology leaders working on autonomous driving as well. And not to forget, their cars are being sold a lot cheaper than imports. That is, of course, due to generous subsidies Beijing has been paying. So German and other international car makers have fallen behind.
So what is the German government, about to do to help strengthen the sector?
Well, they're actually talking about that right now at that car summit, but we do have a bit of background. Just before the weekend, last Friday, actually, German Economic Minister Robert Habeck visited a Volkswagen plant in northern Germany. It was in response to some news out of Volkswagen that the company was actually doing so badly they might have to close plants and cut some 30,000 jobs. Now, Volkswagen has denied that number, but they've said they have to cut costs somewhere. And I can't imagine that any major cost cutting can happen without major layoffs. Now, the economic minister says he wants to help avoid site closures and he hopes that layoffs will be at an absolute minimum. But after all, he says Volkswagen's structure has to be decided and executed by the company, of course, with the government only setting the framework. But that, of course, can still be very helpful. For example, the German government could once again incentivize electric cars. That would help sales, and it would certainly be a welcome measure for the industry.
All right, what are investors looking at in today's markets?
Well, here in Germany, yesterday's elections are definitely something people are talking about. It's the other big topic going into the week. Now, it's not really much of an economic topic, but the future of the government, stability in Berlin and the states is still, of course, something that's generally important. Now, as for those elections, the good news is that in the state of Brandenburg, the Social Democrats, that is the party of Chancellor Olaf Scholz, was actually able to keep the extreme right-wing AfD party at bay. Barely. Of course, the AfD is still posting just under 30%, but it will be up to Social Democrats to form a government, and that will take a while, but Brandenburg remains governed by a party and a coalition that is not outside our democratic norms, and that's certainly good in every way, including for the economy.
Lars Walter, thank you so much. All right, let's take it on now. We see in Egypt, Egypt's central bank aims to sell shares in a state-owned United Bank, an initial public offering on the stock exchange, and that's by the end of March in 2025. They don't say how big the stake would be. I said that it was still seeking approvals from stock exchange and the financial regulatory authority. United Bank increased its total assets to 106 billion Egyptian pounds. That's about $2.2 billion. At the end of June, from 72 billion pounds 1 year earlier. According to the central bank, its net profit rose to 1.7 billion Egyptian pounds in 2023 from 1.15 billion Egyptian pounds 2 years ago. And they have about 68 branches with 1,800 employees. And now we see in East Africa, Kenyans living and working abroad increased the money they sent back home by $72.9 million, about 9 billion Kenyan shillings in August 2024 compared to the same period last year, hitting a total of $427 million. Last month's remittance as a 20% increase compared to August 2023, the highest amount the country has ever received from its citizens working abroad. I guess Kenyan citizens abroad are working really hard, sending a record amount of dollars back home. Now we see in Tanzania, the Tanzanian government is overhauling the payment system for cashew farmers, transitioning from the agriculture marketing cooperative societies to direct payments managed by cooperative unions. This change aims to address long-standing issues such as delayed payments and lost earnings that farmers have faced during the trading season. The new system will cut out agriculture marketing, cooperative societies, which cause delays in payments. All right, let's get a check on the market now. We see the sentiment right there is half, 50 points. I'm showing that traders there are not fully decided on what direction the market is in, but it's green on the screen this afternoon. See $63,603 $1,000 there. That's for Bitcoin. Ethereum's not left out, 2.83% up. BNB also up. Let's look at the cryptos that we track. There was 50 points, but it's still a fearful market. But if we look at the top cryptocurrencies we track, we see Bitcoin there still holding up that bullish trend we saw from last week, all on the back of that jumbo rate cut we saw in the US, and we're still seeing investors happy with risk assets. This time, Ethereum, $2,653, up 2.83%. XRP, 0.74%. So a lot of news coming out in the crypto market over the weekend. We also had that famous Hamster Combat. That's the developers of Hamster Combat. They release how much the players are going to get, for all the activities that they did on Hamster Combat. And definitely, we saw a lot of tweets out there. Some people not so excited about what they're getting, from doing all the work they did. Some say with 8 months of grueling work, they're only getting not the amount that they expected. So a lot of complaints out there. Some getting about 2,000 Hamster Combat tokens, some getting more, depending on the work that they put in. So let's bring in Chimezie Chuta now, the chairman, National Blockchain Policy Steering Committee, joining me via Zoom. Hello, Chimezie, can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Ladi. It was always a pleasure.
It's great to have you, Chimezie, and I've watched your tweets, all your your posts on X. I keep calling it tweet. X. Yeah, so I've seen most of your posts on X, and definitely you liked the game, the Hamster Combat game, and now it's winding down. As they say, season 1 is over, but some people are not happy with their allocation. Some got about 2,000 Hamster tokens, some maybe 4,000, depending on the work they did. But how are you seeing it so far?
Well, it's first of all, I must acknowledge that Hamster has been a fantastic GameFi project. I've learned a lot. Of course, this industry is full of learning experiences, and Hamster Combat mini app really took it to another level and engaged the crypto community in a way that has not been known before in the world of airdrop and GameFi. So everybody is pretty expecting Hamster to cook, and now one of those people who believe that Hamster is going to cook very well. And of course, we need to manage our expectations. But if for a project team to build such a fantastic product and have such a flow for the activities, the quest, the achievements, and every other thing that makes Hamster what it is really very difficult for anybody to expect that it wouldn't cook. I mean, we know that when you want to look at projects and you want to make investment decisions, you take a look at their white paper and look at the projects that they are building. And I can tell you that from everything, all the indicators are pointing that Hamster is going to be very rewarding for most of those people who play, including me. Most of us are expecting a Lambo. Okay, so it wouldn't be difficult to expect that some of us are going to be visiting car shops in the next 1 week.
Right. So if you don't get the Lambo, maybe you might get maybe a keke, depending on the price.
Exactly.
They actually list that, because some are saying if you have 2,000 Hamster coins and it lists at maybe 1 cent or less than a cent, then they're saying that's going to be dust. But do you think the Hamster Combat developers do they even have any hand in it, in the listing price at this point?
Well, I'm not one of the people who believe that Hamster is going to pay dust, because if we look at the total number of Hamster players and those who met the requirements and those who didn't cheat, then you'll find out that we're not that much, and they are allocating up to 75% of the token to the community. And I know that the fact is that if they create enough engagement, enough utility for the token, then the price of Hamster beyond the listing price will actually pump massively. Because when you look at an asset that is gamified in this way, it will show you that there is need for you to hold your Hamster and not sell it up immediately. And the less people that sell it, the higher the price it will go. And what will make people not to sell it? What people will not sell it if they feel that there is much more benefit that will come from the application of the game in the token. And once that is established, people are going to scramble for it on the exchanges. And that will shoot the prices up. So even if the Hamster is listed, say, around 0.1 or 0.5, I'm one of those people who believe that Hamster shouldn't list anything less than 0.1. But if it happens that it lists at 0.1, I expect that in the first 1 hour, Hamster will hit at least $2.
Right, and do you think, some investors that did not participate in the airdrop, do you think they'll be willing to actually buy the token?
Yes, that's why I said it depends on the utility that is built into the token beyond what we have already seen now. For instance, if I were to be a part of this team, I would advise that that token now becomes the central element for reward system. And you could create a lot more of gaming environment and partner with many other projects and create activities and all kinds of quests that people can engage with and earn more Hamster. And as long as people know that people are interested in this game, people are interested in doing this task, then they will hodl. A majority of our crypto people will not sell it. People who rush to go and sell tokens on the day is lifted are people who don't have understanding of what the industry looks like. It could sell, and we'll be waiting for you to sell so they can buy. Because when people are selling, the price will dump, and you can move in and accumulate as much as we can, hoping and praying that the token utility will be worthwhile.
Right, all eyes on this game. Definitely, it kind of shows how hard it is, I guess, running a cryptocurrency exchange with a concept, around the Hamster combo. But thank you so much, Chimezie Chuta, Chairman, National Blockchain Policy Steering Committee. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ladi.
All right, the question is it going to cook or will it be dust? We'll definitely find out at some point, and we'll keep you posted. That's the show today. Thank you for watching. You can watch this again on our YouTube channel. Go flip over to our website, channelstv.com, for more updates. I'm Ladi Williams. From me and the team right here at Channels HQ. It's bye for now.